What does one say to an ancient Nephilim ghost?
I suppose you...
This is Sparta!
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another Diablo 3 video. This is going to be a Season 34 tier list video. This is not my creation. This is going to be piecing together information from maxroll.com and also having a little look at the Season 27 leaderboards, because that is of course something we do have access to in the game. Now Maxroll have actually updated the tier list again. I know when I did this last time for last season, some people are kind of saying Maxroll's not really quite on the ball, but still I would personally say they know a lot more about the game than me. If you do disagree with anything in this tier list that they've produced that we're going to go through, do stick it in the comments. Obviously, as a community, if we can just help people get the best Greater Rift clear that they can, the best kind of Paragon experience that they can, I think that obviously would be very, very helpful. Before we do get going though, guys, as always, a thumbs up brightens my day. Now, Maxroll, I will link it in the description. There are two lists that really interest me, which are the solo pushing list. They have put a little disclaimer on here. Look, we're not entirely sure where everything's going to be, and we will update it. S tier is absolutely jam-packed with builds. A tier's got a few in, quite a lot in B tier as well. And then the other one that I really like looking at is the solo experience tier list, because this is kind of where we spend most of our time, is farming Greater Rifts. Now, this is going to be from a solo perspective, because ultimately if you want to grind Paragon in a group, just make yourself a Z-Barb, a ZDH, and you'll be absolutely fine. Z-Barb for Season 27 is going to be absolutely incredible, because we've got the Sanctified Whirlwind, which drags enemies across the map for us, so it's going to be very, very easy to play. None of this Raycore trying to group stuff up and that sort of thing. But I guess let's just talk about the solo XP first. I will probably bounce between this and the push list, I guess. Now, there's 3 builds in S tier. These are the 3 builds that I'm most interested in playing. I was most interested in playing these before the tier list came out. Now, the first one I think has got a little bit of a question mark on it, which is the Aegis of Valor Fist of the Heavens starting set for Crusader, which is great. Now, Maxroll seem quite clear that the sanctified item is going to stack. So the Fist of Heavens randomly coming down, speeding up after you use speed charge was really powerful in Season 27. We did have a 150 clear on the season with like 6,000 or 7,000 Paragon, I think. Bear in mind though that at the time in Season 27 the modifier on the Aegis of Valor was like 20,000. Now it is down to 15, so it did get a little bit of a nerf. But ultimately, if we've now got the Vigilante belt, which, because this Sanctified power is so popular, it actually got put into the game on this particular item. Now, whether this will just be straight up double damage, I'm not entirely sure. We might well be benefiting from double dipping on Convention of Elements, because the Sanctified Fist of the Heavens that gets called down will be holy, and then we will take the Lightning Rune, so we might get 2 goes of Convention of Elements, which would just be insane and really, really nice, and that would make Stone of Jordan a very, very powerful item. I kind of want to see on the season just to make sure that we are getting this like double damage, double dip effect, and if we do, then yeah, I think this is going to be pretty tasty, and a lot of people are gonna like it a lot. Bear in mind as well, a major change that we've had since Season 27 is the Altar of Rites is in the game. And what that means is that we're probably getting 2 or 3 Greater Rift tiers out of past performance. So if something was, let's say, at 125 in Season 27, well, it might be at like 127, 128, just with the power that the altar, once it's fully unlocked, adds. So very interested in the Fist of Heavens, but I'm probably going to start Demon Hunter now. The Shadow Impale, I think, is probably where I'm going to start, because I know roughly where that's going to be. In Season 27, I had a quick look back at my old videos. I was doing 120 in 3 minutes with like 1100 Paragon. This was without the Guardian set, which obviously is an addition. Should have mentioned that on the Crusader one as well. Actually, we can take Guardians for a bit of a damage boost as well there. So no Guardians, and also Shadow has been almost double buffed, I think, because I think on the season it was maybe like 80,000 or 75,000. It's now up to 120,000 the impaled damage, and the both modifiers basically. Sorry, I just got to clear some Maxroll that off. both of the modifiers have been heavily buffed. So I think in terms of raw power, it's got like at least probably about double, because it's roughly got that from its modifier. Add on Guardians, add on the Altar of Rites. I think we could be looking at like 130 upwards for this, with, you know, a moderate amount of Paragon, which would be pretty nutty. Now, another one on the solo XP list, Demon Hunter wise, is the UE multi-shot. These are both going to be using the same sanctified power, which is the strafe automatically fires out your last hatred spender. So obviously on the shadow build, it will be impale. On the UE flavor of it, it is going to basically be multi-shot. Now, multi-shot has had about a 4 or 5x increase, I think, because it was, maybe it's about 4, because it was about 350%, I think, on the modifier, whereas it's now 1700. So that's like 4 times better. So that's going to be quite interesting. Will that keep pace with the impale? Not entirely sure, but it's going to have really nice screen wipe capability, so it might be faster, even if it's not necessarily stronger. But it could well be the stronger of the two. Again, we'd have to kind of test. I don't really know which one of these two to augment up. I don't know whether to put my time into going UE multi-shot or Shadow Impale. I might let the game decide for me, depending on whether I get any particular nice Shadow or UE pieces. But they're not going to share supporting items massively, so you are going to have to kind of pick one. A few people have said to me they think the meta is going to be double Crusader, just with the automatic Fist of Heaven's crushing stuff, so we will have to see. Now, this is all fine. I think these are definitely going to be the S tier builds, subject to the Fist of Heaven's point with the Vigilante belt and the Sanctified power. This next tier I'm not so sure about, because I just don't see Nova being anywhere near these builds. Nova is, you need trash to play it. It's difficult to kill the Rift Guardian. We're coming off the back of a couple of really powerful seasons for Necro. So the open cube, the 4th cube slot, we're losing a lot of power. I'm not sure it's going to be quite as good. I could be wrong on that. Ratham was quite interesting because this did actually use a sanctified power that actually helped, I think. Doesn't look like they've updated it, but one of these sanctified items I think dragged, like, again, the whole screen together, so it was actually quite nice to do the sanctified army of the dead. I do remember it being powerful, but again, I'm not entirely sure for solo XP that it's going to be getting up there. Now, Bone Spear, that makes no sense to me, because Bone Spear, I think, in comparison, is going to be crap. I think it's surely going to be like about 20 tiers behind the Shadow. So again, I'm not massively sure on this. Lod Meteor, I mean, I don't know, maybe we're on about doing higher tier rifts that are slower. I think all these builds here in the top will be able to crush stuff at like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Lod Nova won't. Bone Spear's a little tricky sometimes to get the clear time down. Talrasha, again, Meteor is powerful, but it's been nerfed since season 27. There's no real sanctified power that really goes with it. Gears of Dreadlands is going to be, in my money, pound for pound, quite far behind UE and Shadow, so I kind of almost feel like this entire tier should be here, and some of these B tier builds should be further down, because I do think these three are gonna pretty crush. Maybe all of this A and B tier are just going to be completely splodged. Now, we don't have, I was going to say, we don't have much in terms of Monk, but we do have the Legacy of Dreams Wave of Light. Now, this was tricky to play. I seem to remember it was very, very powerful. So there's a lot of tasty 150 clears when I look back at the leaderboards with this. The idea here is that we're going to take the Sanctified Wave of Light, we put the bells down, we blow them up. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, but it was really, really powerful. So again, I do wonder if that might be a little bit higher up in terms of where it should be. I'm not sure. I haven't played much Wave of Light the last few seasons, so I can't remember if there have been any kind of changes. Patterns of Justice, Tempest Rush is up here on the XP builds, as is Inner Mystic Ally, Lord Bombardment. I don't really see many people bothering with anything other than this kind of like top 3, personally. But if you fancy any of these builds, Frenzy Savage is always kind of popular. Again, I'm not sure there's massive things going on here with the sanctified items. Wrath of the Berserker, no, I don't think it's amazing. It's not adding tons and tons of damage. 100% abated damage, you know, it's okay, but it's not brilliant. What else have we got? Whirlwind, Again, we get the grouping mechanic here with the sanctified item, but I do think this, like, it's just a set that to me really is going to lack behind in terms of damage. So again, this will pull enemies, hold them. So it's the same as the Z-Barb. Again, I personally think it's going to get left in the absolute dust. Raycore, I probably wouldn't be picking for speed farming. Mundanugu, I probably won't. I mean, obviously, if you're playing Witch Doctor, you're going to be stuck with Mundanugu. I'd be interested to see what Jade's up to. I know that's had a bit of a buff, and there's a potential interaction with the sanctified power. Magic Missile isn't on here, but I think that's probably just a bit weak because that was doing like hundreds, I think, in season 27. So maybe with the altar, that's up to 105s. But again, you compare that to like 130, and you can kind of see where we're up to. So yeah, these are the builds for the solo XP. I think it's going to concentrate in the S2. Moving on to the pushing now. It's going to be fascinating, I think, to find out which of these builds is going to be on top early, because we've still got the Nova builds at the top now. Nova thrives, as I said earlier, on density. You need really good map selection to get this cleared quickly. You need your conduit pylon. You need to be able to spawn a pylon with the boss that you've got stuff to kill. I mean, it's always going to be 150 capable. Nothing really uses the season theme. You get a slight, I think, one of the sanctified items for Necro does do something with Death Nova, but these little spirits do very little. So it's kind of almost like you've got like an extra free primal, and that's about it. So yes, it will do 150, but I've got a sneak feeling that this Fist of Heavens is going to, if it does do the double dipping, is going to be really good for pushing. I think the Shadow might just about get up there. Wave of Light was really, really strong in that season 27. So they're kind of the ones that I'd be thinking. I'm not sure. Spike Trap is always powerful, but I'm not sure whether there's going to be any interaction with the season theme. Maxwell haven't updated that particular guide yet either. Lord Bazooka is tricky to play. I never like doing it. Rathma, I could see doing quite well. Raiment Generator has got some crazy sanctified power. Wave of the 100 Fists basically stacks up to 350 stacks with 2% damage. So that's like 700% damage, I think, which is funny because I always say nobody likes Raiment, and it might actually be a particularly decent push build next season. So we will have to see. I think, honestly, guys, we're going to have to see where this settles. Lord Hote was not as powerful as I remember. I was kind of thinking it's going to be like easy 150s. There were a few 150 clears on the boards, but they've all got kind of like crazy Paragon. So I don't think this is going to be a season whereby there's 3,000 Paragon and we're all of us are happy blasting out GR 150. You know, maybe that's why Nova's at the top, because it might well be that with the lower Paragon range, we can still get a decent clear done. But yeah, I'm not massively sure. It's a season theme that in a way seems to impact the speed builds and the speed meta probably a lot more than it does the pushing. But ultimately, we've got a lot of other popular builds in here. We've got the Bone Spear, Corpse Explosion, Firebird Meteor, Talrasha Meteor. Magic Missile's actually gone up to A tier for pushing. So, although this is the Firebird one, which again I think is a little bit more difficult to play. Magic Missile firing 10 out with the Seeker Rune. I don't think I even set that up on season 27, so that's definitely on my list of things to check out. IK Hota, Might of the Earth, Leap Quake. Again, I don't really think there's much going on in terms of season theme. Any build that does use a lot of area damage, like Earthquake, on something like Barb, is going to benefit from like the Whirlwind power, because you will be able to drag stuff around and create really big juicy pulls. So again, a lot of fishing, a lot of maps involved. But I think the Lord Host is probably what I want to play on Barb, just because it's something that we can't really do on the season. I suppose the same is true for the Whirlwind grouping thing, but the Lord Host actually changes the way the skill works, because what it does is it fires out in all directions. It looks really cool. It was a lot of fun to play. I think I spent a lot of time speed building this, even though it probably wasn't the most efficient thing, but I just found it a lot of fun. Akan Condemn is normally pretty strong, but that's only kind of making it up into this A tier. Marauders again is traditionally quite strong. Only made it up into A tier. I don't. Has this been updated? This one hasn't been updated yet either. So look, we're going to get onto the season. It's going to take 2 or 3 weeks for everything to settle down. I appreciate most people will have swanned off by then, but ultimately, I think there's going to be a little bit of kind of suck it and see as to which of the builds interact with the season theme. How do we remember them? Are they going to work? And I think the big question really is this Fist of Heavens. That's a massive one. And Shadow UE. I think they're my interesting questions, I guess. I will link the tier list so that you can have a little look-see at it. Do remember that you can go into the game if you're on PC and go back to Season 27, and you can have a little look at some of the really insane clears like this 150. A lot of the players, I'm guessing, have been banned for doing things they shouldn't do in a video game. So you're not necessarily always going to get the information, but this is like the Wave of Light Monk. Obviously everything is primal, it's nearly 10k Paragon, it's ridiculous, but bear in mind that we do have extra power in the game in terms of Altar of Rites. I'm not sure if they changed one of the mechanics with like Epiphany. Unfortunately, what we can't do is we can't look and see the build exactly as it was. So what I mean by this is if we load up the Shadow Mantle, for instance, somebody did clear 150, it was with 8k Paragon, but if you look, it basically has got the current today's modifier on it of 120,000 on the 6-piece. This was something like 75,000 at the time. So that's why I think this is quite interesting, because you could maybe cut that Paragon down to like 3.5, 4, and you might be 150. So yeah, I'm kind of interested. Again, Guardians does a lot of heavy lifting with Paragon helping early on, so maybe it'll be a little better than I think for the season. Maybe we'll get 150 busted out a little bit faster. But you can come in here, whatever class you want to play. If you want to play Necromancer, you can have a little look-see, get onto the Nova. Again, bear in mind, Nova's mechanics changed a lot since Season 27, so I wouldn't necessarily rely on all of the information in here, because builds have been changed, set mechanics have been changed, but I've tried to, as we've gone through that list, I've tried to call out the ones that I think have changed. Wizard has changed a lot as well, because this Talrashimiti used to do a lot more damage than it does now. So yeah, just do your best, have a little look-see, have a little play around, use Maxwell's tier list, and then decide what it is you're going to play. I'm definitely thinking it's going to be Crusader, Barb, and DH heavy season for me. A little bit Wizard mixed in with the Magic Missile. I'm probably going to swerve Necro completely, because I feel like I've done that to death over the last few seasons with Death Nova, no pun intended. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let me know what class you're going to play. Are you excited for the season? I've been Filthy Casual. Take it easy, guys. Peace.